Here's an interesting little feature that seems to have snuck into SAP Enable Now, specifically when recording simulations against an S4 system. I don't know exactly when this happened, but I'm not sure it's always worked this way. So when you record a simulation against an S4 system, it automatically captures the context for you. That includes, like you can see here, the context property, and also down under SAP Companion Context, it captures the product name and product version. Now, all of these together, along with the language, determine when these are going to show up as applicable help in SAP Companion. And this context one is the important one, because this says which applications it's going to appear for. And it will capture that automatically every application that you go through in that recording, or every screen that you go through, really. Now, the problem is that this particular simulation that I've got, I start the user from the home screen. This screen is officially called Shell Home. So we start from that screen, and then we go through the actual, once we get a few steps into it, we're into the actual Manage Sales Orders app. Don't worry too much about going through that. If you're not familiar with that app, it doesn't matter. The point is it captures all of those screen contexts for me, and that's what I see in here. I've got Shell Home, which is the home screen, then I've got the Sales Order Manage screen, and then we go into a details screen in Sales Orders as well. So it automatically captures all of those things, which is generally good because I want this simulation to be shown on the Learning tab when I'm in that Manage Sales Orders app. The problem is it's also captured this, and I don't really want this simulation to be preferred as potential learning content on the home screen, because all of my simulations start from that home screen as I'm taking the users through it for learning. But if I have every single simulation listed on that home screen, there's going to be literally hundreds on that tab. And if I jump to the system now, it's right here on the Learning tab. And you can see in this case, I've just got this one simulation of creating a sales order, but this appears on the home screen, and I don't want it on the home screen. I just want it to appear on the sales order entry screens. So how do I remove that? Nice and easy. Back in Producer, what I've typically advocated in the past is just to come into here and delete this out. So just delete that context out of there so it's not got Shell Home in there anymore. And then in theory, you're good to go. However, what seems to happen now is that it automatically recalculates all of the contexts every time you save the simulation. So note here, it's not in here anymore. And I'll save that to the server so we know we're not doing anything tricky. And it's still not there. I'll go into Edit. I'm going to make no changes to it. I'm just going to click Save, come out of it, and it's put that back in there for me. And that's a problem because now I have to remove it again. And it's going to do that with every simulation every time I edit it. It recalculates that context. And that's the bit I'm sure did not used to happen, but it does now. So how do we fix this? So if I go and look at where it's pulling that from, I'll go back into that simulation in edit mode. And if I go and look at these screens here, and there's basically 3 screens that I've got this information on, this one, and this one. These are all on the home screen. What I'll see over here in the properties, I see that it's captured that context of Shell Home for me, and that's what it's going to pull into this context property here. So I need to remove it from here. Now you'll notice that there is a property here called Exclude from SAP Companion. And unfortunately, that does not work here. What that is for is exclude from SAP Companion for desktop. And if you select that, it will stop that being captured in the index for SAP Companion for desktop help. But as far as SAP Companion period goes, it does not work. It would be logical if that was the case, but that's not how it works. So you can see here that I've got exclude from SAP Companion on all 3 of these screens. I've got that selected, but it's still bringing it in. So that's a problem for us. So how do we get rid of that? Nice and easy, actually, just not logical. If I select each of those screens, I can change all of the properties all at once. If I just deselect this context property, it effectively removes that. And it's done that on all 3 screens because I had all 3 screens selected. And now if I save, come back to here, it's removed that for me. So again, it's rescanning everything or all of your screens and rebuilding that context every time you save the simulation. So as long as I take out that context property, it's going to be removed from here. And to confirm that this now works, I'm going to finish editing. I'm going to republish this and flip back to the system, refresh the screen, go back to my Learning tab, and now it's no longer there because, again, I now no longer have it in the context. So that's how to get rid of that. Again, I don't know when this started happening, this dynamic rebuilding of the context every time you save, but that's what it does now. In most cases, it's good to have that, because if you record some additional steps within a simulation, or you combine simulations or whatever else, you want it to do that, and it's going to do that for you automatically now. The downside is that shell homepage if you've got that in your simulation, because it's going to bring that in. Okay, hope you found that useful.